We want to welcome everybody tonight to Station 1. This is Tiger Talk, and Dave Williams is with us tonight, myself, Jim Scobie. We will be talking to Jim Collins, the head football coach of the Tigers, here in a few minutes. And also, we've got a couple players. You want to tell them who the Wittenberg players are tonight?
Yeah, tonight we've got Tyler May and Gene Nobles.
Tyler May, who had that first touchdown for the Tigers, and then Gene Nobles, who ran a 100-yard kickoff return in their win over Hiram. But we're going to start tonight. We always start with the NFL, and I know, Dave, you're a huge Browns fan. And earlier in the week, they played the Steelers. They won 29-17. And what's interesting is on Monday, after the game, their outstanding defensive player, Myles Garrett, was in an accident.
Yeah, after practice, he and a female companion were going somewhere, and luckily they had their seatbelts on. The car actually flipped over.
Yeah.
He's been released from the hospital already.
Wonder they're both alive.
Yeah, well, luckily they had their seatbelts on.
Yeah.
And don't know how fast. I don't know if it's a matter of speed.
Yeah.
It didn't have anything to do with
sure
drinking or anything like that.
Yeah, it rolled over two or three times.
Over.
But I guess today they said he would get to play, which is exciting. And I'll tell you, the other team that we always talk about are the Bengals. And they finally got a win over the Jets, who had beaten Cleveland the week before. And
never should have beaten Cleveland.
No,
Cleveland gave that game away, but the Jets, the Bengals rolled over them.
Yeah, it's 27-12. And, of course, as we go through, we look at some of the other games. Bears over the Texans 23-20. It was a squeaker. The Titans beat the Raiders 24-22. Colts over the Chiefs. That was a big win because the Colts did not play well.
Yeah, who would have thought the Colts were going to beat the Chiefs?
But I guess the Chiefs just absolutely did everything wrong in that game. A pullout win was the Dolphins over the Bills, and that's a shocker there.
Did you see the end of that game?
Oh, absolutely.
Of course, the offensive coordinator for Buffalo just went crazy when the game ran out and they didn't have time to kick the field goal. And he was throwing – it was the guy that was the quarterback for Miami when Ohio State beat him in 2002.
Tua.
The offensive coordinator.
Oh, I see.
And he just went crazy and was throwing – it was a classic.
The thing about it is right now the Dolphins are playing really, really well.
Dolphins are playing well.
Let's see where they are.
It's my son-in-law's team.
Some people have them as like the number 2 ranked team in the NFL right now. They're 3-0 and quality wins. I mean, big-time wins. So also we had the Vikings 28-24. Ravens beat the Patriots 37-26. Eagles over the Commanders 24-8. You mentioned a couple teams like the Jaguars.
Wow.
But they
They're
have a shocker.
Looking good.
They beat the Chargers 38-10.
Yeah, beat them easily. And that game was in L.A.
Right. Panthers over Saints 22-14.
Baker got his first win.
Absolutely. Rams 20, Cardinals 17. Of course, just the other night, Cowboys pull out a win 23-16 over the Giants. Broncos win 11-10 over the 49ers. And
that was like watching paint dry.
How about Jimmy Garoppolo stepping out of the end zone and giving up a safety?
But you know what?
And
actually, that was good. Because if he hadn't stepped out of the end zone, that pass was picked off and it was a touchdown.
But it was 11-10, and
11-10.
Of course, that
I think that's
hurts.
only the second game in NFL history it's ended with that score.
Isn't that something? Falcons, they get a win over the Seahawks, 27-23. We mentioned the Dolphins lead the AFC East. Bills, they're 2-1. AFC West is the Chiefs and the Broncos. AFC North, the Browns leading, and the Ravens, and they're playing really well right now,
both
too.
2-1.
The Ravens 2-1, Jaguars 2-1. In the NFC East, the team right now that is absolutely dominating is the Philadelphia Eagles. They look real. There are no weaknesses right now with that team. Cowboys are 2-1. In the NFC West, it's the Rams 2-1. NFC North, it's the Vikings 2-1. Packers are starting to play better. They're 2-1. Bears 2-1, and the NFC South, the Buccaneers are 2-1. Dave, talk a little bit about college. Do you have anything on there about college football? I've got some scores, the top 15.
Well, of course, we saw the Ohio State game the other night, and they really had no problem whatsoever with Wisconsin, C.J. Stroud. But it was kind of funny, usually Ohio State does so much of their damage through the air, but the other night it was really Trayvon Henderson, Mayan Williams. I mean, they both rushed for over 100 yards. they were really pounding the ball on the ground.
Well, I think we'll hear from Jim Collins tonight in the Tigers, the balance of their offense. And that's the thing that I think you're seeing from Ohio State. They're able to throw the football. We know that. But now that they're developing that running game, man, that really enhances everything. Number one was Georgia. They looked good early. But I'll tell you what, Kent State gave them a little bit of a
and
somewhat
that's one of those games where you probably play down a little. It's hard to stay up every week.
They won, Dave, 39-22. Alabama, who continues to win. Again, not a very good team in the SEC, but they beat Vanderbilt 55-3. You mentioned Ohio State, 52, Wisconsin 21. I really thought Wisconsin would be a lot tougher.
You know what? The funny thing is, I think there's been 3 schools already that have fired their coaches this year in NCAA Division I.
Is that right?
I mean, 3 schools already.
Did not know that.
Which is unusual.
Right.
Yes.
Well, and Wisconsin.
Well, Scott Frost, of course, the headliner in
Nebraska.
the Big Ten, that lost his job.
But, Wisconsin, again, a team that trying to find itself. They've got a good running attack, but something's not gelling there. And they, again, couldn't stop Ohio State. Michigan, kind of a close one. If you watch that game, which I did, Michigan won it 34-27, but Maryland they fumbled the first
kickoff. And they
gave
scored,
them 7 there.
Yeah.
And then later on there was a really questionable call that went against Maryland, and had they had it checked, they would have gotten it. And that's one where Michigan went down the field.
I'm going to tell you something. When Ohio State plays at Maryland, they better not go to sleep on Maryland or Maryland could hang an L on them.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Clemson won 51-45 over Wake Forest, a tough one. Upset, Kansas State beat Oklahoma 41-34, and that is such a rivalry. But I'll tell you, a huge win for Kansas State. USC had a close one, 17-14 over Oregon State. Kentucky continues to win. They beat Northern Illinois 31-23.
Hey, my wife's alma mater, Miami, beat Northwestern, the Big Ten.
Isn't that something? Isn't that something? I'm glad you mentioned that. Also, want to mention an upset. Texas A&M got a win against Arkansas, 23-21. Arkansas was ranked 10th. Tennessee wins 38-33 over Florida. BYU 38, Wyoming 24. And rounding it out, Penn State 33, Central Michigan 14. NCAC scores, we've got 4 of them. Of course, Wittenberg beats Hiram
38-14.
38-14 on Saturday. And we'll talk more about Wittenberg and their success when Coach Collins comes on, and we're going to talk to the players too. But DePaul won 59-0 over Worcester, and DePaul is putting up some really big scores, and their defense is really good. Ohio Wesleyan 41, Kenyon 7. The shocker was at Crawfordsville, Indiana, where the team that's going to be playing Wittenberg this week, the Wabash
Little Giants.
Little Giants.
They're Little Giants.
They're going to be playing against Wittenberg, and I'm going to tell you, Denison got the win, 45-42, went over there and won it.
So right now, Denison, Wittenberg, and DePaul are all top of the conference at 2-0, and Ohio Wesleyan's half game back at 1-0.
Exactly. So that gives you a little rundown of how college football is and how the NCAC is. A big game coming up. It's Wittenberg homecoming. And
Tigers finally at home.
It's 1 o'clock on Saturday. Make sure you get out there. We want to pack the stadium. There'll be a lot of alums coming back. I was talking to Zan Smith, his daughter, who is a junior, Bailey Smith. She helps with the football team. And I saw her today. I was over there watching the Tigers practice, and she said, Dad will be in. And so I said, you got to come up and see us in the broadcast booth. So I'm looking forward to seeing Zan. And she said, well, those are some of the best years of his life.
Oh, yeah.
And she said, not just football, but he broadcast a couple years on the Tiger Sports Network.
The thing I always remember about Zan Smith, we were doing Northeastern and Kenton Ridge on the radio. And the game was at Northeastern. And the game started, and the first play, Northeastern fumbled. Kenton Ridge picked it up, ran it in for a touchdown.
Right.
Kicked it off. Northeastern ran it back for a touchdown, 7-7. Kicked it off. Kenton Ridge ran back for a touchdown. The game was 49 seconds old and was 14-7.
That's crazy.
Northeastern ended up winning, but I will never forget 3 touchdowns in the first 49 seconds. Zan Smith and I.
And what a good lead in. We've got Northeastern here tonight.
The Jets are in the house.
Got Jake Buckholz.
They're playing
and
great
how about
football.
the old Tiger, Jeff Tiffner in the house?
Yeah, Jeff
The
Tiffner.
barber. We
Still
can't wait
giving
to,
haircuts, I think.
Can't wait to talk to him. And
if I had any hair, I'd let you cut mine. But
and we mentioned we'll have Tyler May and Gene Nobles in
that's
here.
right, along with Coach Collins.
So we're going to take a break. I want to thank everybody for being with us at Station 1. I know Coach Jake, his wife, and family's here. We're excited. It's going to be a fun night. We'll be right back.